In 2021, I bought a Tesla in cold, hard cash. This is how I did it. While my financial situation may not look like yours, I do hope this video provides some motivation, inspiration, and some tips that you can also use on your financial journey. I had been on my budgeting financial freedom journey for a while, so wanting to get a new car that was not only nicer than the one I currently had, but also getting it without a car loan was super appealing to me. This was like next level for me of being able to up my maturity in the budgeting game. A journey like this always starts with a goal.
Imagination.
And let me tell you that my goal was not, I really want a Tesla. It was, I really want a new car that is going to provide the comfort and luxury that I would look forward to driving in. I live in Central Texas, which means a commute is a must. This was before COVID. Now commuting is less of a must, but I drive my car a lot. I live on the outskirts of the city, so driving into the city is very common for me still. And I also like to take road trips to visit my parents in Florida. Another good thing about this was that I was not time bound. The previous car I had, a Honda Civic, is a super reliable car. That's why I bought that car. So even though I was about to pay it off, I knew that I could still ride that car into the ground before buying a new car. So that was something that was really important to me, was thinking ahead far enough to think, okay, I'm about to pay off this next car. It's not what car do I want right now. It's in a few years, what's the next car I can get? Once I knew I had these requirements in mind, I then needed to start looking at, okay, how much does a car like this cost? I ended up deciding on a realistic but ambitious budget of $50,000 to save for a luxury car. So the savings plan, I created a spreadsheet to track towards this goal. You'll see a lot of awesome, fun spreadsheets out in the world for savings. Mine was very simple. It just had a bar graph. It had a 50K mark. And as I added money, I would update the spreadsheet and look at it like every month so that I could watch that bar graph grow and get closer to my goal. The company I worked at, with direct deposits, you could specify multiple bank accounts that your check could go into, and it could be divided by a percentage or a dollar amount. So I did, for every check I got, I would put $200 for the car into a separate high yield savings account. A high yield savings account is just like a normal savings account, except the interest that you earn on the money that's in that account is much higher. Another good reason for doing this like paycheck setup is that I never saw the money in my checking account, meaning out of sight, out of mind. I was able to not accidentally spend it or splurge on something and try to make excuses up later of why I spent that money. So that was another good reason of just setting that aside immediately and not even looking at it and just watching that account grow over time.
Let's do the math. If I save $200 for 26 weeks because I get paid twice a year, that's $5,200. That would take 9.6 years to save $50K. To speed up the process, I would add money that I had left over from my budget, which greatly increased the velocity of this growth, and then I also found extra sources of income.
So a couple things I did to try and increase my income was a couple things. One, I really dug deep into what perks does my work already provide for me. I'm thinking RSU programs or employee stock purchase plans, and I wasn't really paying attention to them. But once I had this financial goal in mind, and with my budgeting, just like in general, I really started paying attention to stocks and understanding, okay, I get this pretty sweet discount on my company stock. Let me start planning for and how to optimize that money. I also had many side hustles over time. I don't have kids, I don't have family to support, so I was very lucky that I had a lot of extra time to trade in for money. A few things that I did was I did freelance work as a transcriptionist. This is where you listen to audio and type out what they're saying. This was really great flexible work because I was able to do this outside of my salaried 9-to-5 job. I also picked up shifts with Amazon Flex, which is a way for you to use your own car to make Amazon deliveries from local warehouses. This one I would not recommend unless you're into it. For me, it was kind of sketchy because I'm a single lady driving into these strange neighborhoods, but it did help boost my journey to my goal. So it was one thing that was worth trying to me. And I actually learned a lot about just how Amazon worked as a company and kind of seeing different roles there and how they do their delivery systems. And to me, that was just interesting. I like to learn new things, see how it goes. So it was a fun journey while it lasted. I was also able to bring my dog Taco with me and just had her in the car. So I had like a partner delivering Amazon packages. I also house and pet sat for friends that lived around town. It was ways of trading in my time for more money, and all of these little things added up to fast forward me to my end goal. So the actual purchasing process, once my spreadsheet started getting closer to that 50K goal, this was probably 3 years after I started intentionally saving for a luxury car. I decided to get specific and finally pick which one did I really want. And so I started doing a lot of test drives. A lot of people I knew had Teslas. I decided to go test drive them and I fell in love. It was the vibe I was looking for. It was the comfort factor, the luxury factor, the sweet sound system. My dog could ride in it and was super comfortable. I just loved the little dog mode, and like all those little things that were the nice to haves quickly became, okay, I gotta have this car. And it was within my budget. I settled on the Y versus the 3, which are the two kind of more affordable models. And that was because the Y had much more space. And I really loved having that space because I knew that I would want to haul things around and just be able to, you know, pack for road trips, camping, etc. So another interesting thing about Tesla, and I don't know if this is still true, but at the time, there wasn't just this immediate availability. I had to put down $100 and sign up on a wait list, and I had already basically like picked out what car I wanted and all the features I wanted with the car, but the salesman was like, okay, it's gonna take 9 months before you'll actually get the car. And for me, that was totally fine because my goal was still 50K and I wasn't quite there yet. I was closer, but not quite there yet. I sat back, put that in, and I was just confident I would be able to add that money to my savings account by the time I had to pay for the car. Surprise! 2 months later, not 9, 2, the salesman calls me and is like, hey, your car's ready like next week. We need to process your payment. Okay. So this is where flexibility and adaptability are so important. And when you put your name down to pay for something, make sure you can make that payment. I had to do some scrambling around, but the beauty of my budget is I could see, because every dollar has a job, I could see all the categories of where I had money and what it was towards. And I saw that my longer term emergency fund, this was a 4 to 5 month emergency fund that I had saved up in case I ever unexpectedly lost my job. It would be able to pay all of my bills and the current lifestyle I was living at the time. It would cover that for 4 to 5 months. I decided, okay, I can pull the difference from this fund and then put it towards the car, and then immediately I can start backfilling that fund. That'll be my new priority of what I would save for. So I was able to make that work. Another good thing was because I had such a good, reliable car, my old trusty Honda Civic, it had a great trade-in value. So I worked with Tesla to actually do the trade-in. I do the usual, like you go to CarMax, get a quote, and then you use that as a negotiating tactic for the trade-in. Well, I did that, went through the process of having Tesla assess my car, and it was more than CarMax, so I was like, done deal, you can have my car. Here are a couple things that I did not account for. 1, taxes on the car purchase. So I had to pay taxes when I registered my car. This was an unexpected payment, or it was larger than I thought it would be. Again, very fortunately, I worked out that trade-in, and so I had that cash on hand so that I could immediately register my car. I'm sharing that because, again, it was something that I didn't consciously think about. 2, my insurance went up. Car insurance for a Honda Civic does not equal car insurance for a Tesla Y. My insurance went up, I want to say $300 per 6 months. Yeah, so that was $600 a year up. And how I save for my car insurance is I like that when you pay by 6 months, it's cheaper. So even though I don't have to pay monthly, I save monthly so that when that big invoice comes in, it doesn't feel like a huge shift that I have to do and scramble around and find that money. It's been saved over the past 6 months to pay for it. So I just had to up that monthly payment into my monthly budget, and then that was okay. But again, something that I just didn't think about. 3, getting your car repaired. I am very fortunate where nothing too crazy has happened to me in my Tesla. I have had 2 tires blow out on me and I had to get them replaced. One good thing about Tesla was that their off-road service is, or at least was at the time, when you needed help, they would cover your first tow. So both times I needed a tow truck and they were able to handle that and take me to the nearest truck place that would be able to replace the tire for me. That is very fortunate. The tires are, of course, special. Like, they have this foam in them. They're a little bit bigger than a standard car tire. I want to say it's 19 inches. And so the tire itself is also a bit more expensive. And I am a huge fan of discount tires, and that's just my go-to place now. I am a discount tire stan. I will always go there. And so luckily I've been in situations where I've been able to buy my replacement tire from them. And while it has been more than my old tires, it was, I want to say $300 to $400, which again, it's a lot for a tire, at least for me, but that was just an expense I didn't really think about. I've had friends who've had to get more work, like body work, because of hail damage or a wreck or whatever on their Tesla, and it ain't cheap. I haven't had to go through that process, so I can't share if those will be future financial surprises or not, but just full awareness of be mindful of all the things you'll have to pay for after the initial car purchase so that you feel like you are fulfilling your dream instead of adding another financial burden onto yourself. I have 0 regrets doing what I did, not having to worry about a monthly car payment. I have enjoyed the car so much. It's just a fun car to drive, and I'm not really like into driving, like it's been a chore more than anything, but that's exactly why I wanted a luxurious new car, was because I wanted to improve my driving experience. I wanted to improve all of that. And I've listened to so many podcasts and audiobooks in this car. I've slept in this car. I've used dog mode on this car, so I've been able to take Taco more places. It's super easy to clean, and I have just thoroughly enjoyed the experience. Now, do we love the CEO of the place that makes this car? But it's a damn good car. So to recap, I set very specific goals. I had a clear budget that I was saving for. I tried multiple tactics to increase my income during that time so that I could fast forward that process. And then I actually purchased the car, and I also shared those kind of pitfalls, gotchas that hopefully you can be aware of if you are purchasing something similar, or just to help you brainstorm things that, you know, beyond the initial payment of the thing, what is the upkeep? What does the maintenance look like? What are other things that I have to buy to make this car work? I would love to hear about your financial successes. I am a geek about budgeting. I love it. It has changed my life. It's transformed my life into this ability to be financially free and have this sort of empowerment and independence that 20-year-old Kay would never have imagined she would be able to have for herself. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel so that you can follow me and get updates on how the tiny house build is going. I'm gonna come out with a tiny house budget video as well of how I'm floating the costs for that. And I can't wait till next time. All right, bye.